Dude, welcome back to Fit Coach Go. In this session, we are going to run through how to use MyFitnessPal. But before we jump into it, let me be clear. There are hundreds of apps out there which will allow you to track your calories, your carbs, your proteins, and your fats. One of them being Chronometer, which I typically recommend amongst my Fit Coach Pro clients, and it's also something I use more regularly than MyFitnessPal. But the reason we're running through MyFitnessPal is because it's recognized globally. However, we need to discuss one of two things. Number one, MyFitnessPal has a barcode scanner. Now, if you've never downloaded MyFitnessPal before, it will ask you to invest in a premium subscription, allowing you to use that barcode scanner. Therefore, you'll be able to track your food effectively. Or number two, if you've downloaded MyFitnessPal in the last few years, you will have access to that barcode scanner at no additional cost. It's free. So depending on whether you want to invest in that premium subscription or if you already have an account, will dictate whether you get that barcode scanner or not. But not to worry, if you don't want to invest, you can use other apps which will explore within this training, such as Chronometer or even Calorie Counter Plus. So let's jump straight into it. Now, we're actually going to follow the iOS App Store instructions. Unfortunately, if you are someone that uses an Android phone, you're on the dark side. I'm not going to be running through that training, but all we need to do is just jump into the App Store and we need to type into our search engine MyFitnessPal, and what will happen is it will recommend some other apps in there. We've got Cow AI, which is very new. It's come onto the market. I believe you can actually take a photo of your food and it will dictate or determine the number of calories, carbs, proteins, and fats within it. How accurate it is, who knows? We've got MyFitnessPal there, which we can see I've already downloaded, or we've got Calorie Counter Plus, or the one that I do recommend is Chronometer. It's absolutely fantastic, and we can see I've actually installed it because I'm going to be running through that in a separate training for my Fit Coach Pro clients. But let's jump back straight into MyFitnessPal. All we need to do is just click download. And whilst it's downloading in the background, you need to make sure that the account that you set up, those details are accurate, because it's going to create a profile or a portfolio based on your data, your anthropometric measurements, which we discussed in your progress log. So let's click open. It should give us one of two options: sign up for free or log in. Now we're actually going to click sign up for free. And of course, if you've never downloaded MyFitnessPal, you can click continue, or you can actually continue with Google, or you can continue with Apple. We're going to click continue with Google, and for protection of my data, my email and also my password, we're just going to do that in the background, and it should have signed in. This is where it gets a little bit awkward. I'm probably going to speak for the next 60 seconds. Let's see if I can sort of hold the room. Whilst I'm recording this video, it's now saying that there are issues for me to be able to download MyFitnessPal. We can actually see I've logged into the wrong account. So there it's asking if I want to invest in the premium. So I thought, why not run through that? For 1 month, it's £16 just to be able to get that barcode scanner. Or for 12 months, it's £5.42. So we don't actually want any of that, unless, of course, you've never invested in MyFitnessPal before. What I'm going to try and do is log in to my old account. Still trying to log me into a new account. One of my old accounts, which is already registered with MyFitnessPal. That way we get access to that barcode scanner. It's just syncing in the background. Hey, look at that. We are inside. So there's 4 sections at the bottom. We've got the dashboard, we've got your diary, we've got your plan, and then we've got more. What we can actually do is head to our dashboard and we can click around that dashboard. The top left, it will show us our portfolio, or if we click more, There we can see that's me on top of a sky pool in Thailand. I can't actually expand that photo, but yeah, the username that I added was jclarky14. For context, the number 14, it's something that is associated with me playing football. So I used to always be number 14, especially with rugby as well. Now it's interesting to see that it says try premium for free. But if I actually just click on that plus button here, and then I click log food and then barcode scanner, you should be able to see myself. So it's very, very sneaky in the way that it does certain things to be able to get people to invest in that premium subscription. But let's head over to more. Now, there's so many different sections here. The one that you only need to really look at is going to be your goals. So if we actually click goals, we can see that on the 20th of June, I was 100 kilos, right? And I could enter my current weight, which was 100 kilos. I then have the goal weight, which is 96 kilos. How much body fat or weight do I want to lose per week? It's 0.5 kilos. And then what's my activity level? And if I click on the relevant sections, it will ask me, do I want to update those weekly goals? And then it will give you your calories and also your macro goals. So we can actually see that I was consuming roughly 2,600 calories. I don't actually use MyFitnessPal to be able to determine my carbohydrates, my protein, my fat, because they're 87 grams of fat. That's way too high for myself. I'm usually around 40 to 60 grams of fat. Protein as well, 131. I'm eating anywhere between 250 to 280 grams of protein. And for some of you, you might say, hey, that's way too much. For me, it's perfect. You should be aiming for roughly 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. But let's say, for example, I did want to start changing things, okay? I can actually change the calories and I can type in, let's say I want to consume roughly 2,500 calories, and then I click the tick on the bottom. It will then update the relevant sections, but generally speaking, we do want to aim for roughly 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if I'm 100 kilos, times that by 2.2, well, it's roughly 220 pounds. Therefore, I want to aim for roughly 220 grams of protein. We can see in that bottom section that the total percentage there is 115%. Generally speaking, I like to have lower fat, so I can bring it down to around, let's say, 42 grams of fat. And then I basically nailed the 100%. Or if I wanted slightly higher fat and then slightly lower carbohydrate, we're always trying to equal that total of 100%. Let's stick with that: 281 grams of carbs, 219 grams of protein, and 56 grams of fat. Now, why am I showing you this? It's super relevant because when we actually run through your progress log, what happens is we are able to determine, using our rapid fat loss calculator, your calories, your carbs, your proteins, and also your fats. So there you could actually enter that in here, and MyFitnessPal will do the job of updating it. And for the majority of you, you probably will be between roughly 1,800 calories to 2,500. So that's MyFitnessPal as a whole. That's pretty much all the sections that you need to look at for now. The next thing that we're going to do is actually look at how do we actually add food? How do we actually track food? And I thought, why not just show you on screen? So I'm actually going camping next weekend, and I thought, okay, this camping festival, it's going to be very tricky to actually cook from scratch, because you're not allowed to bring in your own cooking facilities as such. You can bring in gas canisters and things like that, and you can get pretty much like hot water and then pop something in that if you want to get some oats. Or in this case, I've actually decided to buy some pouches. So this is pasta bolognese, and we can actually see it's got the nutrition value table on the bottom right, and then we've also got the barcode, which is on the bottom left. We've got the ingredients there as well. But what we're actually going to do is, let's say, for example, I had this for lunch. Well, we click add food, and then we click in that top left barcode scan. So what will happen is, if I just place that in front of the camera, it will pick up that barcode. Or maybe it won't. Do you know what? If it can't pick up that barcode, you can actually create that food from scratch. So we've got Wayfarer, And then we got the description. Let's say it's just outdoor food. And let's say per 100 grams. So the serving size, 100 grams. And let's just say it's 1 serving per container. Now we can actually take a look at that nutritional value table. And it says per 100 grams, it contains 117 calories. We can then add in the fat, which is 4.7. You can go on to add saturated fats. You don't have to. Everything is optional, but for the purpose of this video, why not just fill it all out? We'll skip polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats as well as trans fats. We then have total carbohydrates, which it says there is required. The total carbohydrate is roughly 12 grams per 100 grams total volume. And then if we go to protein, again, that says it's required. It's 6.1 grams of protein. Now that's pretty much all the areas that I want to fill out. Okay, so we can see that we've now got Wayfair 100 grams, and it will say it's got 117 calories in it. But if we actually take a look at that product, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. 300 grams is the total weight. So what we can then do is we can manipulate that in this edit entry. So if we actually change that to 300 grams, it will then add the total number of calories. We can see there 351, 36 grams of carbs, 14.1 grams of fat, 18.3 grams of protein. You should be aiming for roughly 20 to 40 grams of protein per meal. But hey, if I'm going camping, this is going to be sufficient. I'll probably end up eating 2 of these anyways. And yeah, that's how you log your food. Now, of course, if I did have a product here that I could pretty much just scan from the barcode, it would automatically bring that data up. Do you know what I will do? I'll actually go and grab something now, wait there, and we'll jump back into it. Okay, I am back with a tub of Perform whey protein. Now, again, you'll have to look around to find where that barcode generally is. It's usually on the back of a product rather than on a front, but again, for the pasta bolognese, it was actually on the front, so I guess that's also an anomaly. But all we need to do once again is, let's say I was having a scoop of whey protein and I was having it for dinner. I can then click add food. I can click that barcode scanner, and then what we'll do is we'll just scan that barcode, and it will bring up the minty chocolate whey protein from Perform. Now, typical serving sizes for this are going to be 30 grams. We can see that if I was to have 30 grams, it contains 112 calories, 3.2 grams of carbs, 1.6 grams of fat, 21 grams of protein. But of course, if I was to change that serving size, let's say I was to have 2 scoops, and I have weighed it out, that's 60 grams. And then I click the tick button. Well, it's already updated that for me in the dinner section, 224 calories. And I can click back on that, and I can see that the macronutrients have changed there. 42 grams of protein, 3.2 grams of fat, 6.4 grams of carbs. So it's very straightforward on how to actually track your meals. But within every single meal design, what I typically recommend is a protein, a carbohydrate, and a fat, just because it's going to impact your digestion. We look at portion sizes as well. A quarter carbohydrate represented as a palm size, quarter protein also represented as the palm size, and then half vegetables represented as your 8 fingers, and then a thumb size would be fats. So if we were to look at breakfast as an example, you could have avocado, eggs, and toast. So let's say 1 slice or 2 slices of toast, depending on how much you want to eat, 1 to 2 eggs, and then perhaps maybe a quarter avocado. But of course, this is going to be relative to the macronutrients which are designed in your progress log. I shall see you in the next training.
I like the way you kiss me. I can tell you this, I can tell it this. I'm trying to be romantic. I'll hit it from the back just so you don't get attached.